Arya's back pressed against the glass window of Ethan's penthouse, the city lights of New York spilling like liquid fire behind her. The world outside was buzzing, cars honking, people rushing, but inside, in that dimly lit room, everything else faded. His hands were already tracing the curve of her waist, strong and urgent, like he had been waiting a lifetime just to touch her this way. She gasped, not out of fear, but because her body melted into his so naturally it felt inevitable, like every breath she had ever taken was leading her here. Ethan's mouth found hers with a hunger that stole the air from her lungs, a kiss so deep it felt like he was trying to drink every secret she had ever kept. She clutched at his shirt, pulling him closer, her heartbeat racing faster than the traffic below. The room was warm, but his touch was hotter, sliding up her spine, fingertips igniting every nerve as though her body had been waiting to wake up. She moaned softly into his mouth, and that sound undid him. His grip tightened, his lips demanding, his body pressing hers firmly into the glass as though he wanted to brand her against the skyline of the city itself. The city lights flickered on her skin, casting her in gold and silver as he kissed down her jawline, his breath heavy, his voice low, murmuring her name like it was something holy. Arya. His tone was a mix of warning and worship, as if he was losing control and yet surrendering willingly. She tilted her head back, giving him more of her. Her fingers tangled in his dark hair, pulling him closer, pulling him deeper. Every inch of her was alive, trembling with want, her chest rising against his as if she couldn't get close enough. He lifted her easily, her legs wrapping around his waist, and for a moment she felt like the city was beneath her, like she was floating, held only by him. The taste of his mouth, the heat of his breath, the rhythm of his heart, pounding against hers, everything blurred into one overwhelming rush. She whispered his name, and it came out broken, desperate, a sound that only fueled his hunger. He pressed her harder against the glass, his lips trailing down her neck, each kiss a promise, each bite a claim. She shivered, though not from cold. The world outside was summer heat, but inside she burned only for him. He carried her to the couch without breaking the kiss, laying her down like she was the most fragile thing he had ever touched, and yet the most powerful, because she had undone him completely. His eyes met hers for one fleeting second, dark, intense, searching as if asking if she was ready to drown with him. And when she nodded, breathless, he smiled, that dangerous, devastating smile that had haunted her for weeks. Then there was no more hesitation. Their bodies moved together with a rhythm older than words, raw and desperate, as if they were making up for all the nights they had spent apart, for all the tension that had built between stolen glances and almost touches.
Every gasp, every moan, every whisper of their names filled the air, echoing like a song only they could hear. Ethan's touch was both rough and gentle, commanding and tender, a contradiction that made her dizzy with need. She arched into him, giving, taking, losing herself in the fire he lit inside her. Time lost meaning. Minutes stretched into eternity as passion consumed them, each wave stronger than the last, until there was nothing but the sound of their breathing, heavy and tangled, and the feel of their skin pressed so tightly together that it was impossible to know where one ended and the other began. When it finally slowed, when their bodies stilled, Ethan collapsed beside her, pulling her into his chest, his arm wrapped around her protectively, his lips pressing against her hair, his breath still unsteady. Arya closed her eyes, feeling the beat of his heart against her cheek, strong and steady now, as if it had found its home. For a long moment, they said nothing. The silence was not empty, it was full, overflowing with everything words couldn't hold. Arya's voice broke the quiet first, soft, almost trembling. "What are we doing, Ethan?" He exhaled slowly, his thumb brushing her arm as though grounding himself in her presence. "Losing control," he admitted, his voice hoarse, raw. Then, after a pause, he added, "And I don't care." She lifted her head, meeting his eyes. They were darker than the night sky outside, but she could see the flicker of something more: fear, longing, maybe even love. Her chest tightened because she knew this wasn't just about desire anymore. This was deeper. This was dangerous. And yet, as his hand cupped her cheek, as his lips brushed hers again in a softer kiss, she knew she wasn't going anywhere. The city outside kept moving, restless and alive, but inside that penthouse time had stopped. It was just Ethan and Arya, two souls tangled in something bigger than either of them had planned, something neither of them was ready to let go of. The night had not ended, though the city outside had started to quiet down. Arya lay tangled in the sheets, her hair messy around her shoulders, her lips still swollen from his kisses. She stared at the ceiling, trying to calm the storm in her chest. But every time she closed her eyes, she felt Ethan's touch again burning, making her body ache all over again. She turned her head slightly. He was sitting on the edge of the bed now, shirtless, his head bowed like he was fighting something inside him. There was tension in the way his hands pressed against his knees, as if holding himself back from reaching for her again. "Why are you so quiet?" Arya's voice was soft, shaky, but there was a teasing edge to it, the same way she always tried to mask how much he truly got under her skin. Ethan didn't look at her at first. His jaw flexed, his breath uneven. "Because if I look at you right now, I won't stop." Her lips curved, a half smile, half dare. She pushed the sheet aside and slipped closer, her bare skin brushing against his back. He tensed immediately, but then his breath hitched when her arms wrapped around him. "You've already ruined me, Ethan," she whispered against his shoulder. "So don't pretend like there's anything left to stop." That was all it took. He turned, sudden and raw, pulling her into his lap, his mouth crushing against hers like a man starved. She moaned into the kiss, her fingers digging into his hair, pulling him closer, needing more. His hands roamed her body with urgency, every movement a mixture of frustration and desire, like he couldn't decide whether to worship her or punish her for making him lose control. Arya, her name came out rough against her lips, but he didn't stop kissing her, didn't stop tasting every corner of her mouth like she was oxygen. She pulled back just enough to look at him, her eyes heavy, her voice trembling. "Say it. Tell me you want me as much as I want you." His forehead pressed against hers, his voice ragged. "Want you? No, Arya, I need you. And that terrifies the hell out of me." Before she could even breathe a reply, he pushed her back onto the bed, his mouth trailing down her neck, his hands claiming every inch of her again. And the room filled once more with the sound of their hunger, their longing, their fire that neither of them could put out. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of skin and heat, every second blurring into the next. Ethan kissed her like a man trying to brand himself into her soul, each movement desperate yet impossibly tender. His lips moved down her collarbone, and Arya arched into him, her breath catching as his hands slid lower, claiming her, anchoring her. She clutched at his shoulders, her nails leaving marks, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he leaned closer, his voice breaking against her ear. "You undo me, Arya. Do you even understand that?" She whispered back, almost breathless. "Then let yourself be undone." Something inside him snapped at those words. He pulled her closer, his body pressing her deeper into the sheets, his mouth trailing everywhere, leaving her trembling, gasping. She tried to speak, to tell him how much she wanted this, how much she wanted him. But the only sounds that escaped her were moans that only fueled him more. Her legs wrapped around him, holding him like she would never let go. And he groaned against her skin, the sound deep and rough, making her shiver. Every touch, every kiss was fire, consuming them both, burning away the walls they had built between themselves. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against hers, both of them panting, their lips inches apart. His eyes searched hers, raw and unguarded, and for the first time she saw the man beneath the arrogance, the man who had been scared to feel this deeply. Ethan's lips hovered over hers, his breath warm and ragged, his voice low. "You have no idea what you've done to me." Arya smiled faintly, her fingers brushing against his jaw. "Then don't fight it. Just stay with me tonight. Forget everything else." For a while he did. Their bodies moved together, tangled in passion and heat, the world outside gone silent like only they existed. It was raw, It was desperate. It was something that neither of them could stop even if they wanted to. Hours later, when the fire had quieted and exhaustion set in, Arya curled against his chest, her heartbeat slowing, her body finally still. Ethan held her tighter than he meant to, pressing a kiss into her hair. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to feel peace, but peace never lasted. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. He ignored it at first until it rang again, the sharp sound cutting through the quiet. He sighed, reaching for it carefully so she wouldn't wake up. But when he saw the name flashing on the screen, his entire body went cold. It wasn't just anyone. It was her fiancé, the man she was supposed to marry in 2 weeks. Ethan froze, the phone vibrating in his hand, the truth clawing at his chest. He looked at Arya sleeping peacefully against him, oblivious, her trust placed entirely in him. And for the first time all night, desire was replaced with something heavier: guilt, dread, the knowledge that what they had just done wasn't just forbidden, it was about to destroy everything. The call ended, but the message stayed glowing on the screen. Arya isn't picking up. Is she with you? Ethan's breath caught in his throat. His grip tightened around the phone. And in that single moment, he realized their night of passion wasn't the beginning of something beautiful. It was the beginning of something dangerous.
Hey guys, if you really enjoy watching my videos and want me to post such type of content daily, then please like, subscribe, and share the channel. I love you so much. Please show love.